Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, the Goots, Ray Goots, and I'm here with Andrew Lee Broski. Andrew Lee, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How is how's your Halloween decorations?
You know what? This town stinks, and I blame Tony Khan. Listen, um, this Saturday is AEW Collision, but right now we're talking about the original Collision. It's AEW, well, it's not AEW, it's WCW and New Japan's Collision in Korea. We are talking about this huge event, the biggest wrestling event in human history,
Yeah.
because your glorious leader, Kim Jong, forced everyone to go. Andrew, as a Korean, how did you feel about seeing this event? Did you learn anything?
I liked it. I liked it. I was actually not in the beginning. I wasn't interested in this, but then when I was like, let me look at the card. I was just like, let me look at to see what the matches are, and I saw some of the names, and I was like, actually, this seems really interesting. Um,
But like when you saw like the sites of North Korea, were you like, oh, this is interesting, or you didn't care about that?
no, because I've seen like documentaries and stuff like that before of North Korea. I've actually
I thought
seen North Korea in real life with my eyes.
you were there.
I
You
was
were there
in
to promote the
China.
podcast, right?
What?
You were there to promote the podcast. You were like, hey,
I
you
was
guys
there
like
to promote
podcasts?
the podcast. Yeah, I was there to promote. I was actually like legit like a jump away from North Korea. There's a part of the China where the river ends up becoming like a stream, and there's literally a stream or a creek that separates China from
Mhm.
North Korea. And if you really wanted to, you could do like a running jump and like a running start and jump over and land there, right? There's
Yeah.
no fence or anything. There's just like a creek, right? But obviously there's dudes hiding in the bushes, camouflage, ready to shoot you whenever they want. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, I've seen North Korea like with my own eyes. So
So this event is not on the WWE network, nor I don't think will it be on Peacock or Netflix, but it is free on YouTube for now.
yeah,
And
you know what?
I would
I
definitely
think. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I would definitely say if you're a fan of wrestling, if you're a fan of American, not American history, I'm sorry, just history in general, for example, I would say this event is a must watch. It is the biggest wrestling event, the biggest crowd ever, 100,000 people over 2 days. No, each day was 100,000 people because
It was
attendance was
over a
mandatory.
hundred thousand people.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer no, actually said the number was actually 47,000. He knows.
Yeah,
He's
I know. Yeah, paying attendance was actually less. Yes.
um, but it's a
um,
big event, and you do get to see the sides of North Korea. And this event was put together. Antonio Inoki put this event together, and he got contacted. It's always whenever like Eric Bishoff, so like because I just feel like now like Tony Khan or WWE be like, absolutely not. Are we going to go over there? You know what I mean? They would just be like, no. There wouldn't even be like a conversation.
well, there's part of the reason why this happened, and they do talk about it very briefly. Is Antonio, like the
Yeah, well, I was
history of.
about to get that. Antonio Inoki was in the government. Yes.
No, the history of Japanese wrestling was actually created by a Korean guy who pretended
Yeah,
to be
he knows that. He
Japanese.
knows him.
Yeah, Riki Dozan, who is actually technically, because remember, Korea used to be just one country, and he's from the northern part of Korea, which ends up being North Korea. And he was he's the one who discovered Antonio Inoki. He saw Antonio Inoki and said, "I want you to become a wrestler." And then he trained him and Baba, and that was his mentor and his first teacher and his first boss in wrestling. So this was kind of in a way like he's going like I'm giving also part of a tribute to my. He acknowledged that this guy was Korean. He was like he pretended to be Japanese so he could get away with
Yeah.
shit, but he's actually Korean. Everybody knew this. Yeah.
The other rumor is, and the last fan got into this, is that
Mhm.
apparently he was a little bit more chummy with the North Korean government than a member of the Japanese government should be. And there might have been some stuff being traded back and forth, although it was never really proven.
Oh, I'm 100% sure the Ricky Dozan thing was a cover story, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
100%, dude. Nothing is ever Antonio Inoki. If you listen to people talk about him, especially the old timers who worked with him, like hugging like people like Freddie Blassie, people like
Tony Khan.
no, like yeah, Freddie Blassie. I forget some other old people. they did not like him.
Yeah.
Most of them, that's why most of them worked for Giant Baba, the opposite side, because they were like Terry Funk, they were like, we can't trust him. We don't trust Inoki. The only person who was willing to work with Inoki was like Vince McMahon, right?
Oh
So
yeah, I mean they used to pay. I as a kid thought it. I will say this. I will say this about older wrestling companies, whether it was and WWE or WCW. They made Japanese wrestling seem like a big deal. They made Japanese wrestling seem like, okay, we don't like each other, but Japan is like that's like that's like the free zone. Like you have to pay respect to the Japanese wrestlers. You know what I mean? They
it's
did a
still
good
kind
job
of like
about
that.
that.
It's still kind of like that today, where they consider a lot in America. The perception of Japanese wrestling is like it's like the fine wine of wrestling. It's like a class above what we do.
But
Right?
WWE kind of moved away from that. But back in the
Yeah,
'80s, and that's because also I think like they had like some type of ownership thing. Back in the '80s, they were more pushing like that, especially New Japan was a big deal. Hey, it's a big deal. I mean, the fact that Hogan wins the belt in '84, he immediately goes on a tour of Japan to wrestle for New Japan. Can you imagine, like, let's say, like, fucking Seth Rollins beats Cody for the belt, like, in a week, and then they just send him to New Japan for, like, 2 months?
or he's into like Mexico. Yeah, right. It's just
Yeah, and it's like, it's not even a question. It's not like Vince, and this is when Vince is, like, about to make his big moves. It's not like Vince was, like, trying to get out of it. He was just like, yeah, you have to go to Japan. You have to go to Japan and wrestle.
yeah.
Imagine if Hogan got injured in New Japan, but whatever.
I know that could have happened. That really could have happened. And if everybody who goes like Hogan's not a good wrestler, this Hogan's not doesn't know how to do wrestling. If you actually watch his New Japan work, he can actually wrestle. Like it's not great, but it's also not bad. He can wrestle. He can do stuff for a big man. He's remember Hogan's humongous in real life. He's a really tall dude. He's really big. But the only thing is Hogan learned is like, why am I gonna go kill myself when I can just do I can make the same amount of money, get a better reaction, and not kill my body at the same time. He figured it out. That's what wrestling's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like I can do all this shit without killing my body and shortening my life. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, he
you
can
know,
wrestle. He can work, man. And you know what I think about these shows? I realize any of the WCW shows they co-produced with New
New
Japan, they're
Japan.
not on the network, right? All those like Japanese, like
Mhm.
the Starcades and stuff like that they had,
The
or
new the new Jap- that, so that right there was like February New Japan Showdown shows that are not, and they're not on YouTube either. So that's why like
yeah,
we did it.
that's too bad that those are not on. I think maybe something there must be some kind of like co-ownership with the videos with New Japan. That's why they can't be on the network. But we're in luck. Collision in Korea, thank God,
But
that somebody put it up in
this is
on
on. So
YouTube.
if so, my thing is you can't really criticize. So like obviously there's no storyline progression, right? Also, this was filmed in April but aired in August, so I counted it as an August show. There's no storyline progression on this show. Obviously, I don't even think there could be with the way, but like it's it's a solid showcase for people who are being tortured in life of what wrestling's about.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start getting into it. Collision in Korea, two legends, one country, taking place on two nights, April 28th and April 29th in 1995. First night, night one, April 28th, had 150,000 people, fans in
You know
attendance.
why that is, right? You know why that is.
Yeah.
Sorry. Dave Meltzer, here's the
Why,
number. He's going to
Smeltzer?
tell you.
Why? Yeah.
Oh,
I would
well,
like
that's
to ask.
because
Yeah.
the Young Bucks were there in the crowd.
Yeah. You know what? I think the Young Bucks were there the second night because the second night actually had a larger attendance of
Oh
160,000.
yeah, that's why. That's why. You know why that is.
How did they find 15,000 more people the second night? Were they hiding? And they were like, "We know you were hiding." Like, no, I don't want to watch that wrestling shit. Like, too bad, we found you. I'm like,
Dude, it was. I heard like you didn't have a choice. You had to go to this.
oh yeah, of course. But I want to know like why there's a difference in number
Maybe
between
like they
first and
couldn't
second.
bust them in the first. Maybe like, well, listen, we want more people here. You can stay home for night one, but we want you here for night two because that's Inoki's
Yeah,
night. I
yeah.
don't know.
Night two has the bigger match. Yeah, okay, all right. So we have on commentary Eric Bishoff, the Professor, Mike Tenay, And Sonny Ono, who's gonna go by the name, this is pre Sonny Ono, Sonny Ono, who's gonna go by Ishikawa, and they
Oh,
welcome
I
to
hate
us
him,
to
bro.
a yeah, they're gonna welcome us to a historic event. And let me tell you, this fucking commentary team is historic in the sense of how fucking I've never seen a even okay, what was that WWF show where they had that shitty third commentator who was like a football Hall of Famer?
Yes, yeah. Sonny Ono's worse.
Yeah, this is way worse than that. There's a WWF show where I think it's like I think it's the King of the Ring, where they have Gorilla
Yeah,
Monsoon and our Macho Man Randy Savage with NFL Hall of Famer like Art Donovan, and Art Donovan doesn't know wrestling at all, right? And he's
yeah.
kind of lagging behind, and he almost ruins the whole commentary team. But it's not as bad as it people make it out to be. This one is the exact same thing, but much worse. And here's the thing: Sonny Ono, he's in wrestling, unlike Art Donovan, and he still brings this down like so fucking bad. It's
Sonny Ono
historic. Sonny
is
Ono.
the Sonny Ono is the worst wrestling personality of all time. There is nobody worse than him. I know I criticize Tony Khan. I know I criticize the guy who manages the Lucha Brothers. I know I criticize Abdullah the Butcher. Sonny Ono is less talented than all of them across the board. I would rather see Tony Khan manage Ultimo Dragon than Sonny Ono.
Yes, yeah, you're right. I would even say I think I just don't like people with the last name Ono. I just
No,
don't
you know
like.
what? You know what I don't like about Sonny Ono. You know what I don't like about because nobody. I remember seeing him and like apparently like a lot of this Japanese exterior was his idea. That's what Bischoff claims. I remember seeing him when I would my and I'd be like, why is this guy doing such a stereotypical like Asian thing? Like he's being. Remember, he used to bring the camera with him and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, and it's like, dude, I thought as a fucking kid, there's no need for this shit. And to find out it's his idea, you know what he is? He's a race traitor. That's what this guy
Yeah,
is. This guy is the
yeah.
guy who tells the Nazis, he's a Jewish guy who tells the Nazis where Anne Frank is hiding. That's exactly what type of person Sonny Ono is. I don't like him. I'm not Asian, but you know how everyone got offended by the Carlito thing?
Yeah, because Carlito, for those of you guys who don't know, they did a segment where Io Sky and Kyrie Shane, Carlito sees them and he goes, "Oh, I better learn Chinese." And everybody but Kyrie Shane and Io Sky supposedly
Yeah,
got
they don't
offended.
care.
Yeah, yeah.
Once people found out they didn't care, that really died down. But
You know
I
who else
think
doesn't
Sonny
care?
Ono is way
I
more
didn't care about
offensive
that.
than that.
Yeah,
What?
I didn't care about that either. I don't. But he's the joke, guys. Is that Carlito is ignorant? That's the joke. That's the whole
Yeah.
fucking joke. But
What did you think of Tanay and Bischoff?
I've heard Jim Cornette and Brian Last say that they don't like Eric Bischoff on commentary. I don't mind Eric Bischoff commentary. He's not bad. He's not
So
bad to me.
so here's my thing with him. He does a very good job. And you know, he on on his podcast when they talk about New Japan, he kind of acts like he didn't really understand it or he didn't even know what was going on. I think that's kind of like a lie. He does a very good job of explaining why the Japanese wrestler is important or why we should pay attention to these Japanese. For someone who claims that he didn't pay attention to New Japan, I think he does a really good job along with Tenay. And last night I put on Dynamite because I had nothing to do, and it was appallingly bad. But I will say I think they should let Bischoff do the commentary for Dynamite because I think Bischoff would do a better job getting over these Japanese guest wrestlers than Excalibur does.
Um, Probably. I don't. I mean, it's been so long since he's done commentary, so who knows? But I would say,
I
like,
would try it one night. I would try it on a. What do you have to lose at this point? You have nothing to lose. You try anything if you
yeah,
want.
that's true, possibly. But yeah,
You can have Jim Cornette fucking blow a guy in the middle of the ring. Who cares?
but I would say this definitely. I would say, he's not that bad on commentary. Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
the difference between
he's not like anything to write home about either, but he's not like terrible, right? Like he's better than Mike Adamle, right? He's better
Mm-hmm.
than who was that Indian dude who was like Onkar Vink or some shit like that, who was on Raw a couple of years ago.
Yeah, in carving. Yeah. I know
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
talking about.
I found Eric Bischoff better than that
I
dude.
think he's better. I think he's miles better than Excalibur. The more time passes, it's been. The thing with AEW, like they still doing the like Orange Cassidy is still up and coming. It's been 5 years, guys. It's been 5 fucking years. Excalibur sounds like that guy. You know what Excalibur sounds like? That nerd who knows everything but doesn't want to include you in. Where Bischoff and Tenay are like, we're gonna assume they feel like more like teachers. Like, hey, we assume that you're new to this subject, so let us explain to you why this is important for you to watch. And like Ishii walked out last night on to no pop to no pop. And I feel like Mike today would be like, oh, he was in Japan doing this, that, and the third. Now he's back for revenge. And Excalibur goes, it's Ishii. We know why he's here. And then that's it. I know. I don't know why he's here. I don't know why he's here, Excalibur. Can you fucking tell me what you're stupid? And also take that fucking mask off, you fucking idiot. Anyway, Bischoff's better. Bischoff is 1,000 times better. We can say Bischoff's an idiot. That's valid, but he is much better at explaining why you should give a fuck about Taco Mitsubishi than fucking Excalibur.
Okay, I get it. You don't like Excalibur. All right. Let's go into our first match. We got Too Cold Scorpio, who dances in the ring, versus Chris Benoit.
The family man of the year.
Yeah, Chris Benoit, Wild Pegasus. Um, this is actually from the second night, the 29th of April. Before this match begins, Scorpio wants to shake his hand. Benoit won't shake hands. And Tenay that tells us that Benoit had this moment. He had just won the very prestigious J Cup in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we get into this match, a very quick back and forth between these two guys. Scorpio hits a moonsault for a 2 count, but then he misses a top rope splash for Benoit to start gaining control of this match. Benoit hits a jumping tombstone pile driver and then hits a top rope headbutt on Scorpio to win the match. I gave this match a B. This was a pretty good opening match.
These two have great chemistry.
Yes.
These two I thought solid opener. I'm very excited. It sounds old. I'm very excited for Benoit to join WCW full time in a month or
Yeah,
two.
me too. Me too.
Because he's just going to add to the shows. I look. Do I think someone should sit there and watch a best of Chris Benoit DVD? No, but if you're watching if you have a goal like we have of reviewing every pay-per-view, I don't think you're a piece of shit for enjoying his match during that pay-per-view, especially the bullshit they've been giving us.
Yeah, and like what do you call it? I am not just because we're reviewing the whole pay-per-view. We're not endorsing his actions.
We could still go back in time and prevent the murders. There's still possibility that we could do that.
Yeah. So like it is just what it is, I'm just reviewing it the way I see it,
Listen, on this night, I mean, some of the matches fucking drag. On this night, it's nice to see this guy actually fucking try. So
Yeah. All right, so let's go to match number 2. It's Mitsu Ishizawa versus Yuji Nagata from the first night on the 28th. This is
AEW will love Yuji Nagata.
I love Yuji Nagata. Yes, Yuji Nagata has been around for such a fucking long time. This is a pre-Blue Justice Yuji Nagata, so they're both wearing the black trunks. They're both actually at this point, they're both 3-year pros. They've only been professional wrestlers for 3 years at this point. They're both 26 years old. So I think during the commentary, they had it set up that Sonny Ono was gonna be this pro Japanese commentator. Like everything he loves about it. He's like always rooting for the Japanese guys and he hates the
He
Americans
can't
for
wait.
some
He just
reason.
cannot wait to be a fucking He
It
sucks.
is so annoying. Like it's so annoying. It's throughout
It
the
takes
whole
away from the
show.
show.
Yeah, it's throughout the whole show, but you really started hearing it and starting in the beginning of the second match. And because this is the first time we're seeing on this pay-per-view the Japanese wrestlers, right? So he's like so into it. Yuji Nagata, he applies many submission holds throughout this match, which is going to be his style even into the future. Eugene, that's probably why he's had such a long career. That it preserves his body a bit more, right? Eugene
Yeah.
Nagata puts on the crossface submission to win the match. I gave this match a C. Ishizawa, he's gonna go on to become Kendo Kashin. Do you remember Kendo Kashin? He was even hired as a WWE coach in their performance center for like 8 months, and then Vince McMahon fired him back in when the pandemic hit. Remember, he was hired as a coach pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and they fired him.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but I get this match a C. It's both guys aren't where they're gonna grow up to become. It just was like, all right, we're just
It was okay. It was okay. Again, like it was a little hard for me to get into. And there's another match later on with a bunch of participants that we don't really know that's way better than this. So it was because I didn't know them, I couldn't get into it. I just kind of thought, yeah, I also feel like the wrestlers were kind of nervous. Here's the thing. I don't think you want to put yourself in a position where you break your neck or your leg and you have to go to North Korean hospital. I think you want
yeah.
to get in and get out. So I think no one is trying to fucking steal a show. They're just trying to have a show. So that's the vibe I got for most of the matches. I don't know if you agree with me.
Um. Well, these two guys are also like they're rookies. They're like 3 years in,
Yeah,
right?
but I'm just saying, like, I
So
think a lot. I think like you're not gonna go all out in North Korea.
I disagree with that because I saw we're gonna go into it.
Well, there is a
That
match where they do it, but
yeah,
not this match.
this match, like I said, they're rookies. They probably don't even know 100% know what they're doing really. When you see like in Japan and they're new and they're especially in New Japan, they're just wearing like the basic black trunks and everything. That's like
Mhm.
the rookie uniform that they make you wear because the Young Lion system that they have, it's like you're not supposed to show any character at all. You know, just do the basic shit, and then we're gonna send you away where you develop a character, but you got to learn your basic shit first. And these guys are still in the basic
Um,
shit kind of setup. But anyways, speaking of not basic, they show you a clip of all the North Korean fan dancing performances. Not the whole performance, but just like a little montage of it. Pretty cool.
mm.
What do you think about stuff like that?
I like it. I honestly wanted, like, I would have taken one less match and a documentary of the trip.
Good point. Yeah, I would have taken that
I
too. One
think
last
this is,
match.
if WWE, you know how WWE does that Saudi Arabia propaganda on their
Yeah,
show?
yeah, of course.
I wouldn't mind what you call it, North Korea propaganda if they ever go there. I would like to see some of it.
Yeah, I would actually like a little documentary of what they do over there, like how to treat superstars and so forth. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting. Let's go to match number 3. We got Saito with Masahiro Chono versus El Samurai and Tadao Usada, who is a former sumo wrestler. This is night one, from night one. This is the first time I get to see the ring announcer, and he's wearing like that blue and yellow like Sergeant Pepper's gear. Sergeant Pepper's
Mhm.
like jacket.
Oh, I thought it was great.
That stuff was so funny. I was like, oh man, we gotta love the Japanese. They're so dramatic. So Chono and Yasada start the match, and he's the biggest one out of all four of these guys. But Saito takes him down with a wrist lock, which is pretty impressive. I like that. I was like, this guy's a big guy, but you're gonna take him down with a wrist lock. I was like, that is cool shit. Today tells us that Chono was actually trained directly by Lou Thez himself, which was like a fact I didn't really know. Um, After El Samurai, he takes a beating for a while. USADA hot tags in, and he uses the sumo 100-hand slaps to take control of this match. Chono, though, hits a low blow on El Samurai, and then who runs into a Yakuza kick and a flying shoulder block to lose to Chono and Saito. And then afterwards, USADA gets mad and he shoves the ref out of the ring for like and out of anger, going like, "How did you not see that fucking low blow that this fucking Chono hit?" This was a B. I give this match a B. This was actually a pretty fun match to me. What did you think?
Yeah, this was a fun tag match. Again, there's something. It just hits different, man. It just hits different. Like when they show you Japanese wrestling you're not familiar with in WCW than it does in AEW. It just feels really, really different, and it always works. And I enjoyed this match.
So after this, we get a montage of Ric Flair, Antonio Inoki, all the boys in just looking at stuff in North Korea, like
That was fun.
sightseeing.
I like it. Like that was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you know who else was there? It was Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was there. We don't get any like audio clips of anything from Muhammad Ali from this. It's just kind of
Well,
weird.
he was already having a hard time talking. So
Oh, really? Oh, he was already in the whatever he had, Parkinson's or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, so you probably don't
you
want
ain't
to.
getting none of that, Daddy. Let me tell you something.
Did you ever read Ric Flair's book?
Which one?
Uh, to be the man, like the one he released through WBF, WB.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, he talks about this event, Ric Flair, in depth, and he says there was a moment where that's right. He does mention Muhammad Ali was very quiet the whole time, but there was a moment he did speak once that, and he basically said Muhammad Ali was like somebody. They were like because when they were there, the whole time they were there, all the escorts and all the officials were talking about how great North Korea is. The
Hmm.
constant. They said it was. The Ric Flair said it was constant. They're just like we're so good, we're so powerful. And there was a moment where Muhammad Ali was like, "No wonder we hate you, motherfuckers."
I love it.
And Ric Flair was like, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ, please don't say that." Like he was nervous, and he said that. That was really funny.
Woo! Yeah,
Muhammad
no,
Ali goes,
I remember hearing that. That's fucking funny, bro.
"No wonder we hate you, motherfuckers." All right, let's go to match number 4. Mariko Yoshida and Manami Toyota, who Eric Bischoff says is very attractive. I disagree, but that's what he thinks. And Ono
He's
says,
horny.
oh, anyway, this is the funny part. Eric Bischoff goes, yeah, she's very attractive. And Sonny Ono goes, she reminds me of my sister. I was like, thank you, Sonny Ono. That adds so much. Like, you fucking idiot, right?
Oh,
Versus,
dude,
yeah,
I fucking hate Sonny Ono, bro.
yeah, Sonny Ono. Versus Bull Nakano and Akira Hakuto from night 1. Okay. Today, during this match, goes over and lets us know how hard it is to for a woman to go through the New Japan Pro Wrestling's female wrestling program. And they said it usually
Hmm.
starts. It says they usually end up with only 1 or 2 women actually making it out of the system and becoming a pro. That's how hard and difficult it is. Bull Nakano and um, Hakuto, they bum rushed the man to start the match. They attacked both women. However, they're all in there, but it kind of that whole bum rush ends with a botched crossbody spot. I don't know if you noticed that botched spot in the beginning, but that kind of took
No, I
a
did.
little bit away. But Bill Nakano, to her credit, after they botched that crossbody spot, she just starts to doing these hard really like stiff hits to Toyota that keeps the match kind of grounded. I always feel like whenever you fuck up a high flying move, you gotta just start hitting the person like really fucking hard to like kind of get everybody back.
Hmm.
However, Toyota does fire back with some quick attacks. Hakuto, who's got one of the worst fucking ring gears I think the whole night. She's got like gear that makes her look like a fucking poodle, dude. Um, she looked like a poodle, right? Like it was just
Hmm.
white and puffy. She tags in, and today tells us that she is known as a dangerous queen. Yoshida fires back with 2 handspring elbows, but Hakuto hits a top rope suplex to stop all that momentum. Bull Nakano hits a hard power bomb on Toyota for a 2 count, but the faces fire back with Yoshida doing a suicide dive through the ropes to both women on the floor. Then Yoshida holds them for Toyota to do a no-hand springboard on both of those women onto the floor. Back in the ring, everybody's trading moves, with Hakuta hitting a beautiful German suplex with a bridge. Very good, beautiful move. Bull Nakano takes both of them to the floor, and Hakuto does a top rope front flip senton on both of them. Um, Mike Snake calls it a lariat, but it's not. He just lands on him on a senton. Bull Nakano gets back in the rope, gets in the ring, and hits a top rope leg drop on Yoshida to win the match. This is crazy match. This is a crazy. They do so much in this match. I give it a B plus A minus. A minus because of that that they do have that botch in the beginning, and that's why it's not a perfect match. But I loved it. This is the best match of the night.
Yes, I agree. This is the best match on the show, 100%. This shows what women wrestling could have always been in the States. These women kill it. You know what took me back to, and I know it's like different cultures, but it's still like, you know, um, that the women were dressed normal, whereas in WWE, they have to hide everything, their flesh and stuff. And at first, they couldn't even wrestle the first couple events. Remember, in Saudi Arabia.
Mhm.
Um, but here they were able to dress however they want, and they put on a great match. I loved it. I will say this. I will give Dave Mills his credit. He would say sometimes if the women could wrestle in America like they did in Japan, they'll the WWE and WCW would make millions, and we're seeing that to be proven true now.
Yes.
Just a
Uh-huh.
tremendous match. Go out of your way to see this, and man, I mean, you think back and the amount of money left on the table. So the next pay per view, in terms of women wrestling, I consider the next pay per view, for WWF the start of the women's wrestling era, because once Sonny shows up, they never don't have a woman in a prominent role, and it leads to the reformation of the women's division, which is still going on to this day. So the next pay per view is a big turning point. But man, imagine if the women wrestling at this level since like the Jumping Bomb Angels, the amount of money WWF could have made on the women. Who needs the men? You could have never become a lame company if you had the women.
Yeah, and by the way, at this point, Bull Nakano is out of the company with WWF, right?
Yeah.
Do you know why she got? You know why she wasn't with the company, right?
Yeah, people they thought like the men like were like we can't follow her, right? Wasn't it something like that?
No, she got caught with cocaine.
Oh, well that's Tony Khan. Tony Khan gave it to her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She got caught with cocaine and she got fired. That's why Bull Nakano had to leave. She got fired with that.
But they all had cocaine. But
Yeah, but you know what's
I
crazy?
heard that like
Yeah.
Diesel, and a couple other people didn't like that the women were killing it, and they kind of went out of the way to chase them out.
Oh, you read the wrong dirt sheet. She got caught with cocaine, and what's really
But
funny is
the part of the reason why part of the reason why her cocaine got caught and not fucking Sean Waltman's was because they were fucking killing it. You know that.
maybe who knows. Um, I
Anyway,
wouldn't.
worth it. Worth
Yeah,
watching the
well,
show.
if you look at her now, like she looks like a pleasant mom. She looks like no, like you would never think this woman does cocaine, but that's what it
Yeah.
was. By the way, if you watch this match on a YouTube, you're probably gonna hear the crowd go crazy for this match. In reality, all the matches were done in silence. If you
Yes.
read Ric Flair's book, he talks about it. He feels like they were instructed to not make a single sound, right?
Yes.
Because so all the matches are super quiet, and all the cheers that you're going to hear watching this, it's all been piped in. So don't think that they were going gaga. They were just being super quiet, you know.
No, they were going Lady Gaga, but they weren't going Gaga.
Let's go to match number 5. It's for the IWGP Championship. This is the top championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Scott Norton, big ass Scott Norton versus another big ass Shinya Hashimoto, the champion. This takes place in night 1. Eric Bischoff mentions how Scott Norton kind of got into it with the North Korean escorts while he's there. They do cover this in the Dark Side episode. This was real. He really got into it.
And Eric Bischoff talks about it in his podcast, and Scott Norton talks about it in his book. It's a great story. It's one of the scariest stories. There's a possibility he could have died.
Yes, yes, yes. You want
He was
to
never.
mention it?
Yeah, give it to be brief, but then let's go, because we're not going to do it
No,
justice.
I want to talk about it.
Oh, so basically, Scott Norton is in his hotel room, and he calls up on the phone, and he tells his wife that he feels like he's in a shithole. The place sucks. He doesn't like it, and all the phones are tapped, and they pull him into a room, and they basically interrogate him, and he has to basically plead that he's like an idiot to get out of it. And he thought like, if I do the wrong move, I'm not going to get out of the room. And there really was like no way. I mean, the Steiner brothers were told not to leave their rooms and they went jogging and they got in trouble. I don't know if you ever heard that.
Yeah, yeah. No, they mentioned that
Yeah,
in the
it was like it was not a safe place to bring these guys.
No, it was not. It was not. Yeah. And Scott Norton, he's not exaggerating when he said like he could have saying the wrong thing could have ended him killing
His
him.
life, his life was much like Tony Khan. His life was in danger in a wrestling show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Scott Norton and Shinya Hashimoto, they lock up, and Scott easily overpowers Shinya with multiple power moves until Shinya starts firing back with kicks. But midway, Scott Norton just starts hulking up and he starts absorbing all those kicks. And he hits Hashimoto with with a lariat for a 2 count. Scott Norton hits a Vader bomb as he continues just beating the crap out of Hashimoto. I noticed that the referee is Tiger Hattori. I love Tiger Hattori. He's been refereeing for he was in a lot of big important things. So Shinya Hashimoto, he leg sweeps Scott Norton and he starts a comeback, but then he puts on this really crappy chokehold that leads to a botched power slam spot. And then Hashimoto starts chopping away at the 1 minute mark. But Scott Norton power bombs Shinya and then hits a top rope splash only for a 2 count. Scott Norton Irish whips Hashimoto to the ropes. He Irish whips into the ropes, but then the bell sounds and the fucking streamers start going off, and it's a time limit draw. What a shitty way to fucking just end the match. I give this a C. It's like an average match at best. You know?
You know what? This just felt to me like go out and kill time. This did not feel to me like they were meant to have a
Yeah.
good match. But if Scott Norton died because he had to go here and have this match, I would have fucking killed myself. This match again, like when they do time limits, I now feel like it's just like we need to kill time. We don't have enough show. Just book these guys for a time limit. And what does it matter? Because like no one's going to see this anyway. So.
I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what this felt like. It did feel just like a time killer, which is kind of, that's too bad. All right, we get more of a montage of the Korean celebration of people being forced to do incredible synchronizing stuff. So
I
many
heard if you
people.
fuck up, I heard if you fuck up your timing, your family's in trouble. That's what like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
told Eric Bishoff.
The punishment is really fucking bad over there, and some of the stories the escapees tell, they're horrific, and we're talking like thousands of people doing synchronized moves together, right? And like some of them are kids, and they're just being forced to do this shit. It's fucking kind of it's very depressing. Shit like that.
Imagine your kid gets shot because he fucked up a dance for the Steiner brothers.
I know it's terrible. It's terrible, right? God, I mean, like, I'd be like, but was the match any good? You want to ask? Oh my God.
Well, Dave Meltzer gave it 5 stars. Well, at least he didn't die for nothing.
Not even a match. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Let's go to match number 6. Tadai Yoshida versus Road Warrior Hawk. Mike Tenay, he tells us that this was actually supposed to be a Legion of Doom reunion. Road Warriors reunion. Both Hawk and Animal are supposed to be there, but Animal's back injury canceled that. Basically, Yosuda is gonna sub in. It's gonna be a one-on-one. It's a match from night number 2. So Yosuda, I don't think is that good. He's the guy that is the former sumo wrestler, but I found out why he's not so good because he is at this point, by the time of this pay-per-view, he's only a 1 year wrestling. That's why he's not that good. I was like, oh, this makes so much sense why he sucks so bad. But he's famous from sumo wrestling. That's why he's getting involved. He's allowed to be in these cards, basically. It's like Ronda Rousey. She wasn't like she's like a first-year wrestler, but she's being in these big time matches. So Yasuda wants to do a sumo face-off with Hawk, which he wins. But then Hawk decides, I'm not gonna fucking sell any of this shit. He no sells, just starts fucking he lariates Yoshida. Yoshida hits a butterfly suplex, and then Hawk goes, no, I'm not selling that either, brother. And he fucking hits him with another clothesline. And then he hits a really crappy clothesline off the top rope for Hawk to win the match. I give this match a C. I would have given it probably like a D, but I am being lenient because Yasuda is a 1 year pro, so it's not fair. It's like telling a 1 year comic your jokes are terrible. You give you an F rating. It's like, dude, he's a 1 year comic, and you can't.
I will say this for this match. At least it was short.
Yes, it was short. It was right. Very short. It's like a 1 minute, 2 minute match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move right along. Let's go to match number 7, a match that does matter. The Steiner brothers versus Hiroshi Hase and Kenzuki Sasaki from night 2. Tanay gives us some background. I love that Tanay is on these shows. He gives such great backgrounds.
So he's so good.
Yeah, he's so good. He
God,
gives great.
so many years of AEW made me realize how good Tanay was. Jesus.
Yeah, like AEW can use someone
Dude,
like a Mike Tanay on the show.
I would throw money at Tanay until he comes out of retirement and I would just maybe he doesn't pay attention to wrestling anymore. Maybe he's like, I don't even know who Ishii is. I don't know the fuck,
Yeah,
But I
because
would literally throw
you're
money
right.
at this guy.
It's been 5 years. It's been over 5 years. Excalibur is not that guy. He's just not that guy. So
He'll never win.
but he's like the lead commentator. Like Eric Bischoff's the lead commentator. You need the supporting commentator guy to be the guy with all the facts. I don't know who that could be. You know who it should be? It should be that guy Marvez, Alex Marvez, who works there.
I just feel like he every time I see him, he looks so unprofessional. He looks like a guy at his first day of the job. Tanay had a very professional sounding voice. I think you've got to I feel like there's a guy out there that we don't know about.
Yeah, Marvez, Alex Marvez. What's wrong with Alex Marvez? He's
I
already
just
in the
he looks
company.
he doesn't feel like he's professional to me.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Excalibur doesn't look.
No,
you don't think
no,
Alex
I'm talking
Marvez
about Marvez. Marvez looks like he's coming for a job interview, and he's like been unemployed for 5 years. He just comes across very confident.
That's the funniest description of Alex Marvez I've ever heard. He looks like a guy who's coming in for a job interview and he's been unemployed for a few years.
Yeah. He doesn't look like he looks like a guy who should just be a writer, or a radio guy.
Yeah. Well, that's why they took him off commentary. He used to be on the commentary team. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
and he's still better than Excalibur. But let's talk about the Steiners. I'm excited to see them.
Yeah.
They're back, baby.
You know what was good about this commentary team of Tanay and Eric Bischoff? Tanay is giving all this incredible background on all the wrestlers, and Eric Bischoff, when Mike Tanay gets to Kenzuki Sasaki, Eric Bischoff goes, "You know, I want to tell you something about Kenzuki Sasaki. His parents have the most delicious restaurant. I've never been eating this kind of food." I liked Eric's commentary. That part was great.
Apparently,
it
that's
added a
still
lot
true.
of perspective.
Apparently, that wasn't something he made up. He talked about it on the podcast that his parents' restaurant was the fucking bomb.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Everything Eric Bischoff talks about on the show, he's telling the truth. Like the whole Scott Norton thing with the escorts is true. Him talking about, but that's what makes it even better because he's not lying. You believe him, and it's just like that color that he's adding to it.
You know what gives Bischoff a leg up? Because again, like they're putting these New Japan guys out, and then you just gotta Google them. You gotta do this, because Bischoff would go to Japan and actually have a good time, and he had friendships with promoters and wrestlers in Japan, so he would actually go to these restaurants and stuff. I don't feel that like Tony Schiavone has that type of relationship. So when like when Ishii walks out, Tony Schiavone and some of the other guys are just sitting there, and Excalibur screaming, screaming incoherently, and and then like when you're like, I don't know who these people are, the wrestling reporters yell at you. It's we'll talk about it more next time because something weird's going on my phone, but we'll talk about it more next time. But yeah, man, it just adds so much, bro. It really does.
Yeah, let's get into this match. Scott Steiner and Hase, they start the match with Scott getting the advantage. He gorilla fucking presses Hase over the top rope. He just fucking gorilla presses and throws him into a bunch of young boys. That was a crazy spot, dude.
That was great.
Hase, he fires back though with a heel kick, a drop kick, but Scott Steiner gets the advantage again. Then Rick Steiner gets in. He starts tangling up with Kenzuki Sasaki, and he shrugs off all his hits. He's like, I'm not gonna sell for you either, brother. But then he gets hit with a belly to belly from Sasaki, and that takes him out. Today tells us that Kenzuki Sasaki met the female wrestler Akira Hakuto, which we saw in the tag team match.
They're still married.
At the event, in Collision in Korea. And on their first date, that was their first date, it was in North Korea. Their first date was in North Korea.
They're still married to this day, by the way. At least when Eric Bishoff did his podcast.
Yeah. He liked her so much, he asked her to marry him on the first date. They announced it to everybody the next day, and Eric Bischoff was like, I was there. I heard it. Yeah, they're still married to this day. Isn't that crazy, dude? They went to this
fucking cool.
Event in North Korea.
All of these are cool things that add to the match, add to the flavor, and it doesn't seem like fucking internet wrestling bullshit. It really feels like real. It feels like real life. The thing about it is that you can show me people that I've never seen and they've been wrestling on All Japan for 20. But if you tell me about their real life, it stays with me. That stayed with me. I remember that story from his podcast, and that's how you get people over. That I don't know. Give me some real facts.
Can you imagine, like, the kids, like, Mom, Dad, how did you guys meet? We met in North Korea. We met in North Korea. Our first date was in North Korea. The most romantic of all places, North Korea.
Do you think they ever be like, thank God Antonio Inoki was double dealing? Otherwise, you never would have met.
Yeah, probably like, if Antonio Inoki wasn't double dealing, you wouldn't have been born, son. Oh, that's so funny. The Steiners, going back to this match, the Steiners, they work over Hase, and then Rick Steiner, with Rick Steiner even giving some stiff shots to Hase. Hase, by the way, he's still involved in the politics in Japan right now, and he, for the most part, everybody in wrestling loves him and said he's one of the most giving guys in wrestling, right? Politics, however, different side of the story. He's been accused of a lot of sexual stuff, but he's still in the government, dude. He still got away with it. And
listen, he's following the Trump playbook, brother.
Yeah. Anyways, Sasaki, he hot tags in. He starts cleaning up until Scott Steiner just low blows him right in front of the referee. Referee doesn't call this one either. After an airplane spin, Rick Steiner suplexes Hase right on his head. Right? Hase is taking such a beating in this match. Rick Steiner and Sasaki, they start fighting on the outside, and the camera completely misses Scott Steiner hitting the fucking Steiner screwdriver on Hase for the win. Did you ever see this move that's Scott Steiner does?
I love it.
It's an amazing move. The camera shot completely misses it here. I give this match a B+, A-. It's a great match too, but it's not as good as the women's match, but it's still really good.
It was really fun, and it's great to see the Steiners back where they belong on this journey. The last time we covered a true Steiners tag team match was at SummerSlam 93, which was WrestleMania 40 weekend. It's been a while. And they're coming back soon to WCW, so we'll see them again pretty soon on the shows. It'll be nice to have them back for a little bit. But, yeah, it's nice to see the Steiners back where they belong. Kicking ass.
And this was a good match. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving forward, we get a montage for the main event, a montage of Ric Flair and Antonio Inoki both preparing, because these guys are both legends. I believe this is the first time they're meeting up, right?
First and only time. I thought they had like a bunch of matches. They did it. This is the first and only time.
First and only time, two legends. And I would easily say these are both legends. They're meeting up. And we're going to go to our main event, Ric Flair versus Antonio Inoki. Good scientific feeling out process in the beginning of this match with Inoki taking the advantage. So Flair has to go outside the ring and take a breather to regroup himself. Flair realizes he can't match Inoki scientifically, so he starts playing the heel, and he starts attacking Antonio Inoki on the outside, ramming him into the post and everything. Flair starts working the left leg in the ring, and he puts on the figure four. They try to paint Inoki as his national hero in North Korea, but that's not true at all. And Eric Bischoff's like, he's a hero over here in North Korea. It's like, he's not. But
he's a hero, but not for the reason they're telling you.
Yeah, like
he's like, this is Japan's plan for next week, brother.
Yeah, they hate the Japanese in North Korea. So, anyways, they start trading punches with Inoki winning the trade off, and Inoki sends Ric Flair into the corner, and then he goes into the corner onto the floor. Inoki tosses Ric Flair off the um, top rope, and then he hits a drop kick that doesn't fully connect, but he gets a 2 count. Then Inoki hits a cartwheel kick and then a diving knee drop, and then his signature Inzaguri to win the match. I also give this a B plus A minus. It's a good match. It's different than the women's match. It's a more grounded match. A couple of little flaws don't make it a full A. The Young Boys have to hold back Ric Flair after this match because Ric Flair looks pissed as he confronts Inoki, but he confronts Inoki to shake his hand like a gentleman. Like I said, B plus A minus for this match. What did you think about this?
I liked it. I also kind of feel like this is the last time we're going to see the classic Ric Flair, the Ric Flair that traveled the world, the Ric Flair that had classic matches. When I don't know if you've been noticing, but his match quality is not the same since Hogan has shown up and Savage has shown up, and he's not getting the opportunity, at least on pay-per-view, to have matches like these anymore. And he's going to have less and less opportunities as the NWO picks up, as he gets older, as Russo shows up. So it's kind of like the last hurrah of the classic 80s Ric Flair. So I enjoyed this match. It was great for what it was. And all in all, I think this is a pretty fun show to watch for 2 hours. It's on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. It's free. It's historic. You can say what you want, but it's historic. And I think that, you know, I think Bischoff and Flair and Scott Norton can always be like, hey, man, I went and I did that, and no one else did. And I give them kudos, and I find it to be a very interesting show. So I'd say check it out.
Yeah, and it's got 3 matches that are like really good matches to watch, like A minus level. Like you should watch those
Yeah.
matches. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely recommend it on YouTube. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so the next 4 weeks, here we go. Next week,
Here we go.
SummerSlam 95, Mabel versus Diesel. In 2 weeks, Fall Brawl 95, the Hulkamaniacs versus the Dungeon of Doom. In
Yeah.
3 weeks, In Your House 3, which is Yokozuna and Davey Boy Smith versus Shawn Michaels and Diesel. And then in 4 weeks, In Your House 4, which features Davey Boy Smith versus Diesel. What are you looking forward to, brother?
Is that Beware of Dog?
No, that's in 96. They
Oh,
don't
okay.
name these until Good Friends, Better Enemies in April of 96, right? They're
Wow,
just
there's
numbered.
so much in your house that we're gonna have to be watching. um, I guess in your house because there's such short shows. Which one are you interested in watching?
Next week should be fun for the ladder match, and then Fall Brawl. Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, it's their only match one-on-one. I'm interested in that. And then the In Your Houses, yeah, you're right, they're short, so
Yeah.
that's good. But in terms of like, oh, this is a match I wanna like revisit. Definitely Shawn Razor ladder, and the match I really want to see for the first time ever so is Arn and Flair. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Guys, that's the show. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. Please leave a comment. Please go to North Korea. Talk to our leader. See if he'll like rejoin negotiations with the United States. Also, leave a comment. Follow us, Ray Goots, on Instagram. Andrew Summerlee on Instagram, and Goots' Wrestling Pod on Instagram. We will see you next week for SummerSlam, baby. See you then.